Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Buffalo SportsCenter video. I am Don. With me today is the co-founder of Instagram, Cal. How are you doing today, Cal?
Doing pretty good. How about you?
Doing pretty good. And today's going to be a little more confrontational because I have a debate idea. Let's talk about, should the Buffalo Sabres go out and get Patrick Kane this offseason right now? Cal, what do you think the Sabres should do?
Straight off, absolutely not. I think Patrick Kane, he's a solid player and he was a phenomenal player at one point, but the end of his career is coming. Let's be honest here. The guy's from Buffalo. Obviously, that's why a lot of the Buffalo fans we've heard it year after year after year. Let's go out. Let's get Patrick Kane. Come on, let's get Patrick Kane. The question is, after we get Patrick Kane, what's he gonna do? He's going to put up maybe 20 points.
Score.
He's going to be 35 by the time we get him, 34, 35 if we get him next season. He's going to take the spot of a young guy on the team. I'm not a huge fan of the idea. What about you?
He's going to score. I think we should get him. Get him. Why not? He would take the Sabres to a whole nother level, I would think. He's a legit, bona fide star still in the NHL, despite being 33. Age is just a number. Age is just a number. He has plenty of playoff experience. He's won the Stanley Cup. He can inject that into our young squad. We put him next to Tage Thompson, and he does wonders. Put him next to Dylan Cousins, and you'll see Cousins get better. If you put him on the power play as well, you'll see our power play get better in addition to that. So I only see plenty of positives, and if the Sabres were to trade for him and sign him to a 2 or 3 year extension, why not? Just do it. That would tell the rest of the NHL that the Sabres are going to try and make the playoffs finally.
I think they're going to make the playoffs this year, if I'm being quite honest. And you do bring up the leadership role, which I do agree with. Patty Kane would be nuts for leadership and would be a great guy to bring in for the culture. But what if it doesn't work out? Also, the Sabres are already going to have a captain in Kyle Okposo, most likely. They want to transition that to either Dahlin or Tuck. After that, I think if the Sabres didn't have a leader like Tuck, if they didn't have that captain role spot taken, I think you could bring Patrick Kane in to be your captain, similar to a Brian Giunta a few years ago. But I think bringing Patrick Kane might just cause some clutter. I don't really think you need to bring in an older guy like that. I think a lot of the fans only want him because he's from here and it would be cool. But the Patrick Kane of the past is gone. I mean, a third of his points last season were on the power play. That Chicago Blackhawks team was trash, but that first line was good. Obviously, you had Taves. Those two have been playing together forever. If you bring him to Buffalo, I don't see him putting up the stats he did in Chicago, and I don't really think he'd add anything. And I think he would take away a spot from a youngster.
He still had 92 points last year for the Blackhawks. For a crappy Blackhawks team, may I add. And while he did have 30 power play points, he still had 60 on 5-on-5, which is fantastic. Do you know how many points Tage Thompson had last season?
Not off the top of my head.
He had 68 points last year. Now, Patty Kane had about the same level without all of his evens or his man advantage points. So he would already be our number one player. He would be the face of the franchise for a couple years. I absolutely disagree with you. They should go out and get him right now. It sounds like the Blackhawks are about to go into a deep rebuild. Patty Kane just wants to see. It sounds like he wants to wait right now and see how all the other teams are doing. But if you're the Sabres and your team is doing good going into November, you are above 500, you're straddling 500, why not do it? Patty Kane would send the Sabres over the edge. We've always needed more depth goal scoring. And yes, the forward group may get a little cluttered, but who would he be pushing down? He'd be pushing down maybe Zemgus Girgensons, maybe whoever the fourth line center is going to be, Vinny Hinostroza. I would rather have Patty Kane in my lineup than Vinny Hinostroza.
I look at the Sabres roster right now, and there's not a whole lot of room. I don't even think Hinostroza would be in the lineup this year. You got a lot of young guys coming up. If you add another year to that, maybe 2, and get Patrick Kane in a few years to end his career in Buffalo, which he already said he wants to end it in Chicago. I don't even know if he'd want to come to Buffalo. He comes to Buffalo, he could really set this back. He might be, a miserable guy who wants to, make the playoffs and push for the Stanley Cup, and we might not be at that stage yet. And I think, say a guy like Jack Quinn coming up, I think another year of his development on a higher line would be more worth it than bringing in Patrick Kane, a guy who's going to have a steady decline, and he could fall off a cliff for all we know at age 34, 35, could get stuck with a bad contract. I think if we go looking for like a 2 to 3 year with a goal scorer, I think we got to go young. I think we got to really push the narrative of youth. I know the Sabres are already one of the youngest teams in the league. Bring in an old guy like that might not work. We saw a guy like Taylor Hall didn't fit in here. We saw a guy like Eric Stahl. He didn't really fit in here. I don't know about this idea. I think it would be cool. Don't get me wrong. I've always wanted Patrick Kane on the Sabres, but I just think if that was going to happen, it should have already, and we're past that.
It still can happen. He will be a UFA. So even if you don't get him now, if the Sabres aren't able to convince him to move, maybe they could next offseason. He's going to be a UFA. He will be able to talk to any team he would like. And I believe it's beyond cool to have him here in Buffalo. He would be a hometown kid coming back to be the star forward for the Sabres. That is the dream. And it's not like he would be a cancer in the locker room. By all indications, he is no cancer like Jack Eichel. I don't think he would throw off the juju right now of the current Sabres room. The Sabres.
There's a lot of women who would say he might be a cancer. I just gotta bring
up.
Oh,
come on!
The Kane last name is forever tarnished in both directions. But I think it would be more of a money grab for the Sabres. I think the management, ownership, I think they'd see Patty Kane, they'd be like, oh, we could sell some tickets bringing this kid back. I think it would definitely sell tickets, but I don't think we're going to need that. I think the youth coming up, I think there's a lot of people who really want to see guys like Quinn, Paterka, talk in development. I think the Sabres are going to be back at full attendance, if not this season, the year after. I don't think we need something like this to boost attendance. And I quite honestly don't think it would really make that much of a difference.
If you were to look at it from a sales perspective, absolutely. It would have the same effect that bringing Phil Kessel to Arizona did, where you saw a third spike in their season ticket numbers. I think the Sabres fans would definitely come back if we saw Patty Kane come here. But that's not why I think the Sabres should get him. It's based purely on talent. The guy has shown no indication that he is on a steady decline. If he was on a steady decline, we would see it already. He's been beyond the age of 30 for quite some time. Last 3 seasons, let me read them out to you real quick. 84 points in 70 games, 66 points in 56 games, then the 92 points in 78 games. While his defensive game has not been great over the last couple of seasons, he can still put the puck in the back of the net. And that's what the Sabres need at the end of the day, a pure goal scorer. I like the potential that the Sabres have on the roster, but to bring in a bona fide superstar, someone that we know what their potential is, we know that he can elevate the people around him. That is why the Sabres should definitely, absolutely, affirmatively go out and get Patrick Kane. If not this offseason, then next offseason.
I would have loved, and I think the Sabres should have got the Patrick Kane from age 30 to age 33. The Patrick Kane from age 34 to 36 is going to be a completely different player. We've seen it with so many players before. You get to that age of like 35, and then it can fall off a cliff as quick as a blink of an eye. We've seen it with a lot of other players before. You know it's coming with Patrick Kane. We don't know what age. He could be a Yager for all we know. He could play till he's 40-something and be still, scoring goals. But, on average, NHL players start to decline around Patrick Kane's age. We haven't really seen it yet with him, but we have in the sense that the Chicago Blackhawks have been a horrible team for the last couple of years. And he hasn't really, done much besides put up points to help them out. So you got to look at it as a standpoint of a fan seeing a team that already has a bad contract in Jeff Skinner, who already had bad contracts with other guys in the past. Obviously, Kyle Okposo was bad there for a little bit. Now I can kind of swallow that one a little easier with his recent progression there. But overall, I think it's a bad idea to go after Patrick Kane. I'm not saying I wouldn't buy a jersey of his. Obviously, it would be cool to see, the hometown kid come home. But from a team standpoint, I don't want to see it happen.
Now, one of your biggest points is that you expect him to go on a decline this next season. Let's do a bet here, okay? By next May, when the season's or April, when the season's already wrapped up, if Patty Kane scores more than, let's go with 80 points. Let's go 80 points because over the last couple seasons, he's been easily obtaining that. If he scores over 80 points, you have to buy an Eichel Vegas jersey and wear it to a Sabres game. If he gets underneath 80 points, I will buy the Eichel Vegas jersey and wear it to a Sabres game. We got a deal? We have a deal?
Yeah, might as well. Let's sign off on it there. We'll do it. I think Patrick Kane, he definitely could get 80 points. I'll take the latter though, but I think if the Sabres were to get Patrick Kane, it would be after this season, and we would truly see the regression. If they did go out and get him this season, I wouldn't be as mad. But if they let a whole nother season of age go by, then they get him when he's 34, 30, almost 35, and then he's going to be 36 when he's playing. I don't see it as a good idea. So yeah, I'll take you up on that bet. That'll be a fun video coming up. If we remember, hopefully we do.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for watching. I was Don. This was Cal. This was a nice debate. Keep it civil in the comments section, please. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe, and see you on the next video. Peace.